The entire Philippines stood still, not for a storm, not for a holiday, but for a 21-year-old girl with a tennis racket. Alex Eala stepped off that plane at NAIA Terminal Free and walked into a wall of sound so deafening, so overwhelming, that she froze mid-stride. Her eyes widened, her hand flew to her mouth. "Is this really all for me?" she whispered, tears threatening to spill. What happened next wasn't just a welcome, it was a spiritual awakening for a nation starving for a hero. And in that moment, Alex Eala didn't just represent the Philippines, she became its beating heart. This is the story of a homecoming that shook an archipelago to its core. The doors of Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 3 slid open, and for a brief, suspended moment, everything went silent. Then came the roar. Thousands of Filipinos, young and old, rich and poor, athletes and ordinary citizens, erupted in a chorus of cheers, chants, and tears as Alex Eala stepped into the arrivals hall. It was July 12, 2026, and the Philippines had been waiting for this moment with bated breath. The 21-year-old tennis sensation, fresh off a historic Wimbledon campaign that had captivated the entire country, was finally home. And the reception she received was nothing short of royal. Leading the welcoming delegation were no less than Philippine Sports Commission Chairman Patrick Pato Gregorio, Philippine Olympic Committee President Abraham Baum Tolentino, and Philippine Tennis Association Secretary General John Ray Tiangco. But it was the people, the thousands of fans who had lined up for hours, the aspiring young athletes clutching rackets and posters, the mothers holding their children aloft to catch a glimpse of their idol, who made this homecoming truly unforgettable. Banda Kawayan Pilipinas, the country's renowned bamboo orchestra, filled the air with celebratory tribal rhythms, their instruments echoing the heartbeat of a nation bursting with pride. As Eala walked through the terminal, an LED screen flashed a simple but powerful message. "Congratulations, we are proud of you." The tennis star, who had conquered some of the world's best players on the grass courts of Wimbledon, was visibly overwhelmed. She paused, her hand flying to her mouth, her eyes glistening with emotion. "Is this really all for me?" She beamed, her voice barely audible above the deafening cheers. It was a question that needed no answer. The sea of smiling faces, waving flags, and outstretched hands told her everything she needed to know. This was not just a welcome. This was a love letter from a nation that had found its newest hero. To understand the magnitude of this homecoming, one must first understand what Alex Eala achieved at Wimbledon. The 2026 championships were supposed to be just another tournament. Instead, they became the stage for one of the greatest sporting fairy tales in Philippine history. Seeded 29th in the world, already a historic first for a Filipina in a Grand Slam, Eala entered the tournament with quiet confidence, but few expectations. Then she started winning. In the first round, she dismantled Mexico's Renata Zarazua in straight sets, 6-1, 6-2, announcing her arrival with authority. The second round brought a tougher challenge in Australia's Maya joint, but Eala showed the fighting spirit that would come to define her campaign. After dropping the first set 3-6, she roared back to take the next two 6-2, 6-0, leaving her opponent shell-shocked and the Filipino fans back home ecstatic. But the real shock was yet to come. In the third round, Eala faced the defending champion and world number 3, Iga Swiatek, a player who had seemed invincible on the grass courts of the All-England club. What followed was nothing short of a masterpiece. In an 84-minute first-set thriller that went to a tiebreak, Eala displayed nerves of steel, edging Swiatek 11-9 in the breaker. She then powered through the second set 6-2, completing one of the biggest upsets in recent Grand Slam history. The victory was her 7th over a top 10 opponent, but this one was different. This one was on center court at Wimbledon. This one was against the defending champion. This one made her the first Filipino in the Open era to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam singles tournament. Though her run eventually ended in a gritty 3-set loss to Italy's Jasmine Palani, Eala had already done something far more important than win matches. She had made an entire nation believe that the impossible was possible. And for that, the Philippines would welcome her home like no athlete before her. The scenes at NAIA Terminal 3 on that Sunday morning were unlike anything Philippine sports had ever witnessed. This was not just a gathering of tennis fans. This was a convergence of an entire nation, united in pride and gratitude. The airport arrivals area, usually a chaotic swirl of travelers and taxi touts, had been transformed into a festival of Filipino pride. Tribal drums beat out ancient rhythms while modern pop songs blasted from speakers. Flags of every size fluttered in the hands of children, teenagers, and grandparents alike. And at the center of it all stood Alex Eala, a 21-year-old from Manila who had somehow become the symbol of a nation's collective hope. The welcome party included the country's top sports officials, but they were mere spectators to the real show, the people. Fans had traveled from as far as Mindanao and Visayas, camping out at the airport since the early hours of the morning just to catch a glimpse of their hero. Young tennis players, many of them girls who had taken up the sport because of Eala's rise, held up handmade signs with messages like, "Alex, you are our champion," and "The future is Filipina." As Eala made her way through the crowd, signing autographs and posing for selfies, she was met with tears of joy, bear hugs, and words of encouragement that seemed to pour from every direction. She took her time with each fan, her humility and grace on full display. This was a woman who had just beaten the world number 3 on center court, yet here she was, treating every single person in that crowd like they were the most important person in the room. The moment was captured on video and shared across social media, sparking a wave of emotion that swept across the country. Comment sections filled with messages of pride from overseas Filipino workers, OFWs who had watched her matches in the middle of the night, crying tears of joy in foreign lands. Alex Eala had done the unthinkable. She had brought the entire Philippines together, from the bustling streets of Manila to the quiet barrios of the provinces, from the skyscrapers of Makati to the shores of Davao. The homecoming did not end at the airport. The following day, Alex Eala was invited to Malacanang Palace for a special reception hosted by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Marcos. Accompanied by her parents, Mike and Ritza, Eala walked into the ceremonial hall where she was greeted by the country's highest officials, including PSC Chairman Patrick Gregoria. The president, known for his measured demeanor, could not hide his admiration for the young tennis star. In his speech, he spoke of the pride Eala had brought to the Philippines, not just through her success, but through the grace with which she handled it. "The entire Filipino nation is behind you. The entire Filipino nation has come to love you because of your sweetness and grace in the face of difficulty, in the face of adversity," Marcos declared, his voice filled with emotion. He then conferred upon Eala the Presidential Citation, a rare honor reserved for Filipinos who have brought extraordinary pride to the country. Eala, humbled by the recognition, shared her achievements with the nation and vowed to continue pushing boundaries in her young career. But the Malacanang reception was just one part of a busy schedule. Eala's homecoming was packed with events designed to celebrate her achievements and connect her with the fans who had supported her every step of the way. A press conference hosted by BPI, a fan meet organized by Globe Telecom at the Glorieta Activity Center, and various sponsor engagements filled her days. At each event, she was met with the same overwhelming love and admiration that had greeted her at the airport. For Eala, who had spent months away from home, competing on the grueling international tennis circuit, this homecoming was a reminder of why she did what she did. It wasn't just about trophies and rankings. It was about the people who believed in her, the young girls who saw themselves in her, and the nation that had wrapped its arms around her and refused to let go. As the celebrations wind down and Alex Eala prepares to leave for the United States, one thing is clear: this homecoming was not an ending, but a beginning. Eala's historic Wimbledon run has elevated her to a level of stardom that few Filipino athletes have ever achieved. Her career-high ranking of world number 28, a climb of 4 spots from number 32, is a testament to her relentless progress. But for Eala, the journey is far from over. After her brief stay in the Philippines, she will fly to Washington for the Mubadala DC Open, a WTA 500 tournament starting July 27. From there, she heads to Toronto for the Canadian Open before the US Open in August, the final Grand Slam of the year. She is hungry for more, driven by the belief that she can go even further. And why shouldn't she? She has already proven that she belongs among the world's best. But perhaps the most profound impact of Eala's Wimbledon run is not on the court, but off it. Her success has inspired a generation of young Filipinos to dream bigger, The image of a 21-year-old Filipina standing tall on center court, defeating the defending champion, has become a symbol of what is possible when talent meets determination. Eala herself has spoken of the responsibility she feels, dedicating her victory to all the girls with ruffled socks and chubby cheeks who dream of following in her footsteps. As she boards her flight to the United States, she carries with her the hopes of an entire nation. But she also carries something else, the knowledge that no matter where she goes, no matter how far she rises, she will always have a home to return to. A home that will welcome her with open arms, deafening cheers, and a love that knows no bounds. Alex Eala is not just a tennis player, she is the heart of a nation. And her story is only just beginning. If you enjoyed this latest tennis update and want to stay ahead of the biggest stories in the world, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the World Zone right now. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. See you in the next video.